For the average high schooler, the thought of a 4-day holiday weekend is always a welcome one, but before class let out on Friday, the students of Ephrata High School held an assembly to recognize the local servicemen and women of the armed forces for Veterans Day. Past and present members of the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines spanning a 50-year era of service from Vietnam to Operation Enduring Freedom were on hand. When the names were announced, the students showed their appreciation with a standing ovation which brought tears to the eyes of many of the veterans in attendance. Members of the American Legion Arch Semro Post 28 served as the color guard, presenting both the American and state flags before and after the assembly. But the students also took part in the day's activities. The Ephrata High School dance team performed a presentation drill where each member followed the instructions of their director to the letter, and following military protocols had to stand down if they made a mistake. Of the 9 members of the team, only one managed to go from start to finish. Since 2010, the assembly was put on by the Ephrata High School FFA Club and their advisor, Tara Smith. Smith said it was a way to remind the students of the importance of supporting the veterans and understanding the sacrifices they make by taking part in military service. To help foster that, the students wrote letters of appreciation to active and past servicemen and women, some of which were shared by the FFA members. Care packages containing a wide variety of household and everyday items that might be taken for granted were also assembled and will be sent overseas. Students were treated to patriotic standards like Yankee Doodle Dandy and video presentations of local citizens who are either still serving overseas or paid the ultimate price. A prolonged moment of silence was observed along with the ceremonial playing of taps, which was performed in commemoration of soldiers killed or still missing in action. The day was highlighted by 3 keynote speakers, all with ties to the high school and each with a different story of what serving their country was like. Drama teacher Randy Johnstead served with the Army in Vietnam starting in 1969 and talked about being drafted and the bond he shares with his fellow veterans to this day. Bus driver Jeff Alsop, whose wife Mary is an English teacher at Ephrata High, served in Operation Desert Storm as part of his time in the U.S. Air Force. His message for the students was that veterans are often not thanked for the sacrifices they make, and their willingness to serve is what makes them heroic. Ephrata High math teacher Cesar Mendoza served in the Marines from 2001 to 2005 and had tours in both Iraq and Kuwait. He told the students how war isn't like playing Call of Duty at home and how even after the shooting is stopped, the memories can stay with a veteran for a long time. One of the best things a veteran can get upon returning home is help and support from family and friends, as it helps the transition back to civilian life much easier. With most of the students at the high school at or approaching the age where military service is an option, some may go off to enlist in the armed forces. Smith said she hoped what they took away from the assembly was that Veterans Day is more than just a day off from school. It celebrates a legacy of men and women who have both fought and died for the freedoms that we sometimes take for granted. At Ephrata High School, Devin Higgins for iFiber One News.